Chapter 14. Making of the Staffs. Sometimes something that sounds odd is in fact wise. It is simply in the wrong context. Minerva of Mida. Farnka. Okay, stern tacatis and zentapanis. Whose first gibbous came the start of fall, which brought with it a new set of soldiers and shedding. As Sol and I began to leave our brown and grey summer coats behind in favour of sick white and grey. Tol Apollo was very annoyed at the amount of our fur he found everywhere. Lucina and Luzelus began to look healthier. They were still a little on the thin side, but so was everyone in the country. We began to play in the tavern, explaining to the bartender pretty much all of the truth that wasn't illegal, saying that Lucina and Luzelus were refugees from the Commonwealth that we'd taken in, but leaving out the part about how we were starting a resistance. The first snow fell during the last gibbous, which Asina, Luzelus, and Pavokit were very confused about. Apparently in other countries, it was not normal to have snow within the first week of fall. By the last crescent, over half a foot had fallen, which Asina and Luzelus found very annoying. During this last crescent moon, Tol Apollo finally decided to give their local mages less noisy ways of using magic. But instead of doing it himself, he decided to let Asina, a child, do it instead. She stood over 3 pieces of wood, crumhorn in hand. Sol had gone into the forest to get wood for the making of wands and staffs, and crafted them all. Asina's, the staff of wisdom, was smooth and about the same height as her, with its name carved in ancient Sylish, complete with the old script. A crow whose wings outstretched sat on top, which was a symbol of Hadat. Luzellus's was the healer's staff. It was a lot like Asina's, but with a crescent moon at the top instead of a crow, and less smooth, with shapes carved into it, but not the name. Sol named his wand the Lady of Shadows after the ancient spirit from ruins of the rest. Looked like a conductor's baton, which was understandable as conductors often looked how mages were usually depicted. Are you sure this will work? Sol asked. Asina laughed. I don't know. I've read a lot of books on the subject. Either it works, I lose consciousness, or I explode. Anyway, she started playing before Luzelus could object. It was a quick and happy tune that reminded me of a fixic piece about a swan, which, because it was fixic, was complaining about our lack of freedom. So wand and staffs were surrounded by a green aura and began vibrating and floating up. Asina looked a little alarmed and her tone wavered, but her notes were still quick and accurate. She reached the end of the piece, gasped, and lurched forward, nearly falling over. Luzellus's eyes went wide as the moon's blood ran cold. Tol Apollo jumped to his feet and ran to her. He grabbed her hand to steady her and began singing a song in Arachnes. She joined in, and together they finished it. Kozia. She picked up her staff. Footnote. Kozia is the Arachnes word for thank you. Who are you, and what have you done with Tol Apollo? I choked so my heart still pounded. He sighed and walked away, but I thought I heard the mutter, "You're welcome." The next day, Tol Apollo sent us all to the coast because he wanted to be alone. Or as he put it, you need to... you know what, I don't feel like coming up with an excuse. Leave. So all and I were riding on Pavokit, and the fairies were flying next to us. Sol's cloak kept flying in my face, and I kept having to mess with it, which earned me a glare from him and started an argument. When we reached the coast, we saw someone sitting by the waves. He had dark green scales, dark blue eyes, and long webbed feet. He was wearing a chiton and a light green cloak, as was common among the Salad peasants. My parents would have made a joke about this being the beginning of another invasion. He saw us and smiled. "Oh, hello!" His Draconic was not very good. Hello? I said. Look for the eye. What does that mean? I whispered. I have no idea, Messina whispered. Who are you? I asked Xenatos. I Broibrat. Reside in the void. Find the card of punching. Use the tide magic, he said. That doesn't sound very solid. What does all that mean? Well, everyone always said that my father was old. He's where I got all my sayings from. A wave crashed over him, soaking our feet. Well, except the fairies, they were hovering. Kill the whales. I blinked. Why? It's a solid folktale or joke, I believe, Asina said. He shrugged. I'm just saying what my father would have answered. He don't trust whales. Robert ran out deeper into the water, then swam into a clear sea. How long should we stay here? Pavokit wondered. We'll stay the rest of the day and fly back in the morning. Sol and I know how to make an igloo. We can stay inside. We need to get far enough away from the tide, so I said. We moved further inland, and Asina and I drew a large circle in the snow. She helped me with the dimensions so that everyone could have room. Then Sol and I built the walls and roof of the igloo since we could best handle the snow. After we were done building it, Asina used water magic to freeze some of the snow to ice and to reinforce the walls and ceiling. We also had a fence in the top inside, so, we didn't all suffocate. Training and traveling had taken up most of the day, and by now the moon was rising, and the sky was a brilliant blue, but beginning to darken. So when I finished, Mama had been a fisher, and we learned from her before she died. Fishing was the only thing I could be patient for. Everything else I would get bored with, sewing, darning, cooking. But fishing was different. I liked watching the water ripple and the little shapes of the fish, waiting for one to grab onto my bait so I could eat it or sell it. We fished until the night fell, then we cooked and ate some of what was caught. Pavokit and I decided to take the first watch. Asina, Lepus and Syl went into the igloo to sleep, while Pavokit and I sat next to the campfire, our hoods on in case any soldiers came over.
Pavokit. We sat in silence for some time. I admired the moons, Riza, like a little claw mark in the sky, and Leah, half full.
So, what do you want to talk about? Wormke asked.
I am not sure, I said, looking out at the sea. What's going on here? A harsh voice with a strong Powatinan accent. Oh, I muttered. We turned to see an armored dragon holding a spear. It was Captain Vetyomik Iriak, who hated mages and fae beyond reason, and also thought that Powatina was just Draco with an accent despite being a Powatinan himself. Adding more to that irony that gave him his nickname, his name meant Southerner, where Powatina was.
Oh, we were just talking about Regoff, Harnka said with a terrible, solid, Delicite accent.
I managed not to laugh, but my expression must have told it all. It was not only that her voice sounded silly, but that she was talking in that silly voice to Captain Vetyomik, who had been very popular among other soldiers for how little he cared about the lives of anyone who was not a draconic dragon. Captain Vetyomik glared at her. I suppose you think this is funny.
We were doing accents! Her voice shook with suppressed laughter.
He grumbled something I couldn't hear. We'll stop it. Then he turned to me. Why'd you play along with her?
Because she refused. Paul, shut up, and... Yes, that is why.
I lied, trying to disguise my voice. It nearly sounded as ridiculous as Farnka's. He looked at me skeptically. You don't believe that? He looked closer. Do I know you? Well, I have never seen you, sir. Well, never in my life. I struggled to keep my voice even. In front. Advocate? Is that you? No! I would never leave the army, for it is great and noble. My voice cracked and noble. And I would never hesitate to kill our enemies, and they're all too dishonorable, too stupid to be spared. He narrowed his eyes. How do you know that he never killed anyone? Hanka sighed. He smiled. So, this is where you've been, he Scott. Hanka rolled her eyes at the nickname. He smiled. So, the lieutenant was right. Working with weaklings and traitors now. What have you been doing for these months? Trying to get you to leave, Wonka said, her eyes dark. What? He's already found out her identity. What do we have to lose? Our lives? So, weaklings and traitors. And what makes you think that a couple of children, stupid Vixor and weak frivolous fairies no less, will be able to stop the greatest army that Ilpa has ever seen? He laughed. It'll be like ants defying the foot. We were fighting the Commonwealth longer than Wonka and I have been alive. Wonka pointed at him, looking much like Athena correcting a historical inaccuracy or grammatical error. Granda just wasn't determined what of the draconic and size when she was only 15. He scoffed. She was stupid, just like the rest of you. She glared at him. Get out of my country, she drew her shot. Or else. His eyes glowed brightly. You dirty traitor, he spat. Cinnis is your country now. All right, and it will never be. Go back to your home like the pathetic dragon you are. I'll show you the power of Vix. She wrapped her cloak around her arm. I spread my wings, ready to shield her. We sliced and stabbed and blocked and breathed fire. The two of us could hold our own. He was a formidable opponent, and no one simply became a captain. Sad France, Wonka smiled. You fight better than I thought you would, he admitted. For Vix, at least. Wonka rolled her eyes. You can't stand up to the might of a dragon. He continued, especially without your little... Before he could finish, Wonka ran, darted forward, and drove her sword into his side. She then pulled it out and dropped it, her eyes as wide as the moon's, watching blood flow from the wound, staining the snow. He looked down at it, then back at her. His eyes even brighter. You will regret this, he growled. Then he flew off, holding one tail into the wound and shouting for a medic. Oh, I hope I didn't kill him, Hanka said. Her eyes shaking and her hands shaking and her eyes wide. He will be fine. There are many medics around. I might be angry at him for shouting that much, though. He frowned. Wait, he was insulting and trying to kill you. Yes, but killing is a line I won't cross. Her voice was stronger now. Yes, I'm sorry. I looked down. You must not think I am not better than them, right? She looked at me intently. Don't say that! We're not invading or killing anyone. Not anymore, at least. Anyway, you've never killed anyone before. You're far from as bad as them. You're imperfect, but that don't mean you're as bad as they are. I smiled. Thank you. He sat down. How long has it been? Should we go to bed? I think about an hour, she guessed. We probably should. We should go next, I wondered. Maybe Sol, she said, smiling. He likes being alone. I gave her a look. He cannot talk his way out of a bad situation to save his life. Are you only doing this to annoy him? She grinned. Yes, but it's good at not being seen. That's how many interactions between us and anyone else go. Unless we're talking about my friend Peparuka, she added with a mischievous smile. I wondered what the history between them were. What about Athena and Luciolus? I suggested. We should probably wake up Luciolus anyway so she can heal me. But then I can't annoy my brother, she complained. Then she grinned. Wait, what if we made Athena and Sol go together. I looked at her, worried. What?
I get to annoy him by waking him up in the middle of the night, and then further annoy him by making him work with someone.
She laughed. I said, as long as you do not kill each other. She shrugged. We're too tired for that. Very well. We went into the igloo where everyone else was sleeping peacefully. Wanka loudly whispered into Sol's ear,
Good evening, brother. You have to watch now. I want the cookie. Why does she get a cookie? He said. Sol! She loudly whispered, shaking him.
Sol woke up, sleepy and annoyed. What?
You've got to watch for danger now.
He groaned. You're only doing this to annoy me. She grinned. I am. Fine. He groaned. He got dressed and grabbed his weapons and walked outside. She then woke up Athena, who followed him out, quickly getting dressed and grabbing a book, her bow, Petila, her knife, Cecily, and the Staff of Wisdom on the way out. They shook Luzel loose awake.
Oh, what?
She said. We had a skirmish with a soldier. Can you heal me?
Yes, I think so.
She grabbed herself staff and treated my scratches.
Now I'm going to sleep.
I nodded.
Wait.
Luzel said.
What?
I asked.
The soldier. Did he figure out who you are?
She fidgeted. I paused before answering. Yes. Her eyes went wide and she sat up.
Should I tell Athena and Sol?
I shook my head. No. We can tell them tomorrow morning. Might be able to hear us anyway. I looked at her. Her hands were moving as if knitting with invisible needles, which I now knew happened when she was nervous. Luzel will be fine, I said. She let out a shaky breath.
I hope so.